Thursday, be it morning, afternoon. We gonna see what we talking about. Good to have you on. Um, yeah, we're live and clear. Um, and we just gonna kick it. We gonna just take it in. I'm gonna come on here real slowly, present a few things, see what's up. Always glad to have people come through. Sometimes these notifications go off, sometimes they don't. So anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and get into it real quickly. We're gonna get into this thing. It's gonna be a real simple one. We just gonna bring it down. You just let me know what you think about it. Let me go ahead and hit the doing this live stream. So we're here. Gonna see how people come through. I gotta promote this thing because sometimes people come through, sometimes they don't. The only reason why you may not see me right away is because I'm actually putting a promotion to telling people about the live stream today. So bear with me if I'm just trying to put the live. So the question is Shannon Sharp headed toward Diddy and R. Kelly? Obviously, you know what happened with R. Kelly and all the money. And then, of course, he's still talking about he not getting his residuals because they took his money. And then now you see what happened with Diddy. So that's what's up. Okay. I don't know what that means, Bonnie, but thank you for coming through. We're going to see. So, anyway, it makes for an interesting debate. Is he headed towards that? But you got to understand that if you have those kind of stop saying what I don't even know who you are, and you're coming on here act like you trolling. You do realize this is a public forum, and you do realize that you can't tell someone on their own site what they can and can't do within reason and context. So please be aware and show some respect. I'm not going to say your name. I asked who you were, where you came from, because I want people to be identified as a people and as a person. I don't know what that means. Are you trolling? Because I don't deal with trolls. I like to have conversation. This is a live forum. This is meant for people that want to get together and commiserate and have conversation. So, okay, I'm going to say this again. Just if people want to talk, let them forever hold their peace. As I was saying, and if you're joining the live stream right now, we're just asking if Shannon Sharp is headed towards that because it's pretty heavy and there's a lot going on. And of course, um, we're talking about what Stephen A. Smith yesterday was like. saying I can't support him, I can't defend him because that's up to the powers that be. So, you know. But anyway, so don't understand all the stuff that's going on, but we just trying to make sense of everything. So we're gonna just take it at ease. Um, I will be here right now. We're gonna see if anyone else comes in, give people time enough to get in. Send out the notifications. We will see if people come through. We'll see what we're working with. Um, keep your face off. So okay, I like that line. Thank you. Appreciate that. I like that one. Thank you for that, Taco Pete. I like it when people come in with quotes and philosophies and thoughts and takes. That's a really good, really good. We live in a day and time we need stuff that uplifts and motivates. So thank you. Thank you very much for that. So yes, welcome to the live stream today. And I hope that you're having a good day. It is Thursday. It could be morning, afternoon, or nighttime. Well, it depends on where you are. It could be Friday morning. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for coming through. Appreciate that. Thank you for your words. I welcome good, positive quotes. You know, I like it when people actually are bringing an uplifting message. Um, in this day and time, we need all the uplift we can get, but people are, so that's a good time. Okay, what's up? Thank you for coming through. Yes, I got to remember the East Coast time because it is a 5-hour difference. So I'm taking that consideration. Appreciate everybody coming up nice and early though. And if you're in the UK, 3+ o'clock. If you, depending on where you are in the world, you know, there's different time zones where different people are coming from. I want to say if we're in if we're in America on the West Coast, it's about 7 something in the morning. So that's what you got to do. You know, you got to think like a boxer. Don't defeat yourself. Give yourself reason and a purpose. Don't fall before you got a chance to crawl. So give yourself a out. Please hit the likes up. Appreciate people coming through. Um, you know. Yeah, that's what I was saying. West Coast. Hmm. I lived it. I was in Washington State some time ago. And yeah, and it's the last, almost I feel like the last place on earth that gets up. It's hilarious when you think about it because it depends on where you are in the world. 3 hours if you're on the East Coast, 2 hours in Mountain Central. Mountain time, I think it's 1 hour. It's crazy. Time differential is crazy. Depends on where you are in the world. So yeah, well, I tell you something. So like if you're in India, they about a whole the time difference is like what I want to say. Buddy of mine was in the West Coast. It took him 16, 17 hours to fly with everything. So that's a day and a half. That's yeah, time zone Australia is pretty much out there. It's different. So depends on where you are in the world. Depends on where you are in the world. So far, 100% say no, they don't think that Shannon Sharp is headed towards Diddy and R. Kelly. Well, it's not necessarily in terms of lockup. However, it could be in terms of how they break the bag. Like if they meet you and they put out enough of negativity, it'll definitely with the sponsors and everything, it won't be a good look. That's what I'm talking about, you know. Now, what they usually do is break your money down, and so then that's where it goes from there. So we're gonna see how that all plays out. I will be on here for a little while today. Um, Not tomorrow, maybe Saturday, and definitely Sunday. So, you know, definitely get some live streams in, coming at different times, and see what see what's going on. Um, see what's up. So gonna be here for a little while today just to see if anybody comes through, at least 30 minutes to an hour, because I like to give people a chance to kind of come in and circulate. Takes a little time. So see any familiar faces that come through and got something to say. But yes, just taking questions and everything about this thing because the Shannon Sharp thing is pretty wild. It's pretty wild, and I think he's gonna have his work cut out for him as far as like coming back from it. I really do. I really do. Think it's gonna be really interesting. Um, you know, and can he overcome this? And you know, it's gonna be very telling. Very telling. When you have these situations in public, they really oh, okay. Yeah. And you know what? And you know what too? Funny you come through because it was Draymond Green who actually pushed old boy under him, which Charles, Shaq, and Kenny and Ernie didn't allude to. That was actually Draymond Green when they was shoveling. He pushed old boy in the back under Jimmy Butler. I don't think he takes Jimmy Butler out like that because I think Jimmy can hang on to the rim. But if you watch, Draymond pushed dude from the back, which got up under Jimmy, and then Jimmy went kaboom. But I got a news flash for you. I don't think I think well they weren't gonna win that game last night, no way. Because Jalen Green is he's so bipolar. You never know who's gonna show up. Oh, I'm putting it on Draymond Green because Draymond got up under when he pushed him. If you look at the replay, he pushed him under him. See, it was an awkward positioning. If Draymond pushes him forward, but he pushed him directly under towards it, he wasn't gonna take over. Jalen Green was coming. You're not giving the Rockets no due. Udoka, the only reason why Golden State got that first game was because they didn't score. They scored. That's all. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And don't defend Draymond Green because he's trash. He means everything he does. He flops. He acts. He is the reason why he's cost him 2 rings because of his whole demeanor. Yes, the guy who stomped out Sabonis on the court 2 years ago in the play-in tournament. Do you remember that against Sacramento in the first round? Yeah, him. The guy who I see his impact, but they weren't going. Houston was going to be a problem. I'm not saying I don't see his impact, but see, they got bigger problems than that. Let me get you off of Jimmy Butler and Kaminga's got to play. Steve Kerr doesn't want to put the size up in there against Houston. You're going to get pounded on the glass. Eventually, Houston gonna make some shots. Then what? That's not to say Jimmy can't come back, but Houston is no rollover. It's just they're not consistent on the offense. Their defense is there though. And I'll be the first to tell you this. You better hope Houston doesn't ever get someone who can score with what they got with Jalen Green. Because if they get the right piece, he has it out for Kamingas. Yeah, because it's just stupid. Kamingas is getting wasted. Now, I like the way I applaud you for Jimmy Butler. I wish I had somebody in here who would defend the Kamingas. Because what in the earth, wind, and fire did Kamingas do to not get no run? When they don't have size, Looney is about all they really got. They don't have no size. They cannot afford to be having guys who've been there 4 or 5 years just riding the pine. Because it does Steph a disservice. And they might could beat Houston if Kamingas gets some touches and some feels, but Kerr's antics, his demeanor, I don't know what he doing. I don't get it at all. I don't like what I'm seeing on their offensive sets. Butler did a great help for them for offense and especially for defense, but they still got holes in the screen that there are no easy buckets because the problem with them is that they don't have a second team of depth. And if they get exposed on the front, then what? So I'm holding that on Steve Kerr. But I'm telling you right now, maybe not this year, but next couple of years, Houston's gonna be a true contender. They gonna be there. So, you know, I'm just saying they gonna be that team. They just gotta land that dude that can, bring it home. And I don't trust Jalen Green. Like that's the only problem with Jalen. Because Jalen got it in him, but he's just so hit and miss. You don't know what you're gonna get, and he's an extremist. He plays where he can at least do 20 a night. They were gonna beat a lot of teams. But if he has them games where he goes for 28, then he goes for 9, no, to a regular. So, but I'm still looking forward to the series. I still think it's one of the few series that I like. It's that one, it's New York and Detroit, and it's Clippers and the Nuggets. Those are the only series that I'm really excited about watching. The other series I'm not really, because I think those are the three most compelling series. And I'm looking for to see what Udoka does. And then, the Clippers and the Nuggets. And then, of course, when I mentioned New York and Detroit. Pop was smart with his bench. No, he used his bench well because Patty Mills could come in and bust your cakes. Boris Diaw could bust your cakes. Remember, Ginobili used to run with the second team when he wasn't starting. Now he was great with that. The problem that hurt the Spurs, and we're gonna go back 20 years, is that when Steven Jackson fell out and they lost him, they didn't have that small forward. They missed that shooter. I believe that if that Steve Jack stays there, they contend for another ring or two. I think that missing having that cost him a ring or two. He wasn't a great player, but he fit their system like it's like Bruce Bowen. If you don't have see, championship teams gotta have that dude that nobody else wouldn't have, but he's a superstar for your team, even though he would probably be a mere role player or bench player elsewhere. But he looks like a superstar. And they missed out. That's one reason why I think they didn't repeat. So they lost him. It took them a while, and then they had to retrain their identity. They were still good, obviously, but they weren't championship good. There's a difference between being good and being great. You can be good and go a couple rounds. You might sneak a third. You're not championship great. There's a difference, and that's what the Spurs had eventually. So no, I think that he. I thought, yeah, Kerr ain't lose. Kerr is in an era where he's gambling off of what worked as far as a lot of shots, long back taps, hustle plays, and rebounding. The problem he's run into in the modern set is that the league caught up to Golden State, but they had a run. You go to 6 finals and you win 4 chips. Hey, you'll take that. But the problem is that you're still trying to coach that way. And you were fortunate enough to get a Jimmy Butler, but you still need somebody else. They still don't have that other, and that other is in the box. Because now we're getting near the tail end of Steph Curry's career. You need somebody who can make easy buckets to offset that wear and tear. And that's the problem. That's why Steve Kerr, to me, he ain't registered to him. 'Cause you still living off of hoping, yeah, Curry had them games and Jimmy Butler's been an asset and all that. And but you ain't gonna go against Rudy Pooty teams every night. Somebody gonna clap in on Curry. Somebody gonna clap in on Draymond. Someone's gonna tighten up on Butler. Who else is gonna offset that? When you're going against teams that can run and gun and can low post you, wear you out, and then bring in the bench, what you gonna do? So, and this is your first time without having the likes of a Clay Thompson too. So we're gonna see what they got. We're gonna see what they got. Butler's gonna I think he'll be back, but this series is gonna be a lot more tougher than people give credit for because Udoka knows how to coach. Udoka knows how to he knows how to take he learned that from Pop too. He is a Pop disciple too. He learned how to take out your main player too. See. So that's all I gotta say about that. They're one of them situations where, it comes down to the meeting of the minds on this one. And if you're Houston, you gotta feel pretty good because you didn't keep them under 100 points both games. Keep that in mind. And you can make them have to play a half court brand of ball. Now, that's where Kamingas is huge. That's why they have to get those other guys involved. And Curry gonna have to probably put up a 30 burger. He gonna have to have a game where he go off. He can win a couple games by himself. They'll need Jimmy for the defense, and they'll need him to kind of slow down. But if Houston gets into that box and that paint, and they figure out how to score, oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I don't like. I'd say this is what makes this a compelling series. I watched Snoop Dogg and Mad Dog talk about it on ESPN yesterday, and they said Minnesota's tougher than, and that's true. But Udoka is a better coach, and that's where coaching does come in because he's actually putting defensive sets that are slowing Golden State down. That's a fact, and they gonna get physical with them. They gonna dirty it up and ugly it up. So, well, that's the one mainly where you're coming from when you talk about him. What's up? Thank you. What's up? What's up? Join the game. Come on in here. I thought about you because I was in here today, I'm gonna start coming some days. The days that I'm here, this around the time I'll be here. So, what's up? No, look, Golden State's problem is they don't have any, and they gotta play Kamingas. Just Steve Kerr gotta play everybody off that bench. He doesn't have this luxury of he gotta play everybody. They missed out when Wiggins didn't go to the next level. Yeah, 25,000 per cheek. And the thing about it ain't gonna end well. Yeah, you wanna be Mandika Warrior. I mean, I'm telling you. See, and as I told some people, that Joy Taylor situation is a lot going on with him. It's a lot going on with him. Because I'm a firm believer that they got other stuff coming out and they're gonna try to break him down. And he gotta know it. And that audio leak tape is very damaging. I mean, that's not good. And I saw the Monique thing. Someone put it up on their site because the Monique thing. She said you need an old chick and you need someone that's gonna take care of you. Leave these young girls alone. Well, he messing with the ones that are only for the bag. They're not looking at him like he's Michael B. Jordan. Shoot, they looking at him as sugar pops. And he thinks because he flexing and he bodysuit and going to the club, they're going to the gym. That's what he doing. They're going to, and they don't let Gloria Arler, that attorney, get in because then he's really toast. All it takes is a Gloria Arler to get in there, and then he really gonna have them all coming after him. And he doesn't mess with a top tier quality of them anyway. Well, not only that, they went into it. No, this is the thing, right? He don't have a good stable of them. He got the sloppy second thirds. They don't even they look slow. They come off slow. They like Tiger Woods' sloppy thirds. If you gonna get busted with someone that gonna take you somewhere. He up there with the busted chicks with no personality, with no conversation, no lingo, and just diddly dumb. They ain't that dumb, no. They know who he is. See, he is not Leonardo DiCaprio. He ain't white. And you can't be all wild and willy nilly and thinking that you're gonna be all corporate and grinning in these folks' faces and you're not gonna pay no repercussions. That's the problem he ran into. You ain't you shuffling along, like, oh, and then you're gonna try to play all corporate, then you're gonna talk about some Michelle. Let me get my get the yak. Get out of town with that. Of course they are, because he's flaunting it. But of course they are. It's a corporate, stiff, good old boys club. Whitlock ain't gonna come out and say how racist they are because he can't say that because he didn't sold his soul. But to say that. But we all know what this means. It's all in the code. He did that because the rumors with him walking around with his man purse. That's what that was about. He was trying to act machismo. Because I'm gonna tell you something. If you're 50 plus years old and you still have to prove your identity to people, then that's not a good look. I'm all right. So that was on the Joy Taylor thing. That's what it was because he used to have that personal dude named Hollywood who went with him to the Laker games. Remember that night when he got into with the Grizzlies and he got into with Jaws' daddy, and then Hollywood was sitting there all grinning. Oh, he probably both sides. You know how they go. First of all, he a country cat that got into some all kinds of stuff. He may not necessarily go to a Diddy party, but he been around, because it's new to him. Rest in peace, Stephen Michael. And the thing I appreciate you mentioning, I remember when they were on the hospital with him. Um, uh, 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 Mike Singletary and all of them. Bedside. I saw it. I remember. And it was very sad to see. They're not. Because Dwight isn't a corporate darling like Shannon. They like Dwight, but where's the white show at? Where's the white? The white got into it. The white doesn't say the stuff that you want to hear. He never was on his side. He used him. But this is payback for Skip Bayless. He used him. He used him to use him as a ticket to get a new contract. That's what Snitch and A did. He'll sit there and cackle with the best of them because this is chess. This ain't checkers. If I bring this turkey in as a free agent, I look like a genius, and then I can go get a raise to the massa. This is how I offset Pat McAfee. Okay, I brought in a big fish who was a free agent. That's the game they play in Bristol. It's chess, not checkers. He brought in and if he doesn't pan out, oh well, that's not on me. Think about the people. Once he got Max Kellerman, you see the writings on the wall. He felt Skip Bayless was gone. He goes up a notch. They get Molly from NFL Network. She's a sidekick. Mad Dog's credible for like his little antics. Then you get these other people. That's what they do. No, what did he do? Because I ain't really. First of all, ever since that whole thing with Joy Taylor, and I don't pay his mess no mind. But what he do? Well, if he gonna sit there and talk about LeBron half the show and the Dallas Cowboys the other show, I don't know if I want to. If those are his main two topics, no, thank you. But if he goes into a story where he talks about journalism, why he has his top 10 players that he do, what he thinks about, because he goes into these tirades where he starts upping some people that, you know, yep, he ain't gonna never go against nobody that's gonna be questioning some of his choices. And he can get real finicky and picky. And it's like he doesn't really have debates. Who's he? What's he debating? He gonna debate somebody that says Jerry Rice is the greatest receiver, and he's gonna say Michael Irvin. Think about it. I know where he go. I've watched him. I told you. You asked me what I thought about that turkey. I stopped messing with that turkey 25 years ago. Told you my homeboy roasted him on the phone. This was back in 97, 98. That's when you were real, you know. Man, look, we ain't pay old whack Mel Kiper no mind. His glasses is foggy. His greasy head is foggy. Nobody pay that old. Don't pay that turkey no mind. Him and Firestein, Firebarn, they all like the same. They're rolling dice like we do when we say about these drafts. They don't know. He been having that grease head for 30, 50 years. What's up? How you doing? Yeah, and that's all they want to talk about. There's nothing to debate there. I'm not watching that mess. I don't want to hear them about no MJ and LeBron. That's like people talking about Michael Jackson and Chris Brown. Ye- Great day. Thank you for coming through. Glad to see you today. You listen. You can't compare eras. You can't compare generations, and things done changed. He in a lot of trouble. That's what's going on. He got these lawsuits coming. Wow, man, you getting some spring. You getting some spring. It's strange the way the weather's going in different parts of the country, though. You getting some spring though. You lucky though. But I hope it. I hope that don't be your. I hope that don't mean that may be whack though. Shannon Sharp in a lot of trouble. He got lawsuits. He got a woman out here trying to get. She gonna go for 50 million. And so before anybody asks, the difference between his situation and Jay Z's is that it's perfect for baseball. Is that Jay Z's situation is a little bit more murky. It's a little bit harder. It's gonna come to the surface, but that's gonna take a little time. This is pretty self-explanatory. One thing about Jay Z, he ain't get caught on the side porch. That's a good day. Now that's a normal day. Yeah, they sure did. Crawford was bad. Schaefer's was a tough, tough power hitter. I already know about that. You listen, I'm a fan, but I ain't look. I saw Donovan Mitchell last night. You gotta tell me. I already know. And whatchamacallit used to play for the whatchamacallit who used to play for Max hit some big shot Strauss too. Yeah. I don't know about I say he should retire though. Because he can't land that big fish. That's what he's ever since the whole LeBron left and then when D Wade did come back. But you see, this whole thing with Jimmy Butler is there's a lot of things that they just the fact they got to the playoffs. I guess you give him a cookie because he'll say, "Well, we fought to get to the play and we in the playoffs, but at what cost? To be a first round casualty to get a broom handle? You're not a good team. You can't match Cleveland. They got too many weapons and too many ways to beat you, and it's not even worth watching. I know Tyler Hero put up some numbers. Bam is inconsistent. I don't think he passed on KD. KD never showed me that he wanted to go there, and Kawhi with San Antonio traded him to Toronto. Miami did not have anything that San Antonio would have wanted. Not when he was traded from there, because and maybe if you get rid of Tyler Hero, but I don't think they had anything that they would have traded. I don't. Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you something. Whoever wins that series can make a serious run. I think that's a money series there. Denver and the Clippers, that's a money series, and it's got legacy from both. Because Kawhi and Jokic. I didn't say Harden, unless of course Harden went into one of them crazy. If he started putting up nonstop 30s, then we start to look at him a little different. But I don't think so. Oh, he could be dangerous. And Norman Powell too, and Zubas. Like they got a squad. And Tyron Lue is the Joe Mazzulla that you don't talk about. He is a very good coach. He may have. I don't know. I didn't see that. I don't pay Steve Nash no mind. I when I saw that little funny time I did a video and I saw the little funny time get together, and I'm thinking, okay, LeBron got him wearing his hair party. He gonna try to get him a job. I thought you gotta be kidding. He probably did. I hadn't seen it, and I might have to do a video about that. Um, First of all, when people say that kind of ignorance, thank you for letting me know about this. What I asked them, it already matters. That's the problem we're running into. When has it not mattered? Because now, but there was a brother who meant that. You remember when Nash kept the girl locked up in Arizona and said you can't leave the state lines? There was somebody that was mashing the potatoes. I forgot who it was on the Suns, but somebody was mashing the potatoes. So he ain't far off. I don't know if it was Jay. It was one of them. It was somebody. Somebody was mashing the potatoes. I forgot who it was, but he had her on lock. He had a court order. That was one of the most gangster moves I ever heard of do. So you can't leave the state. But no one will talk the two-time MVP locking you. Wouldn't that is that some kind of federal? I don't know. See, Nash got a new loophole. No one talks about it. No one talks about it. And you see, is what I told you about David Stern's NBA. There's a lot of stuff that if it really came out about the stories behind these cats, it's scandalous. It's scandalous. So, but nobody wants to hear all that. They say, "Oh well, oh this is all." I said, "No, these cats be into some real freaky deaky. You couldn't imagine." Oh yeah, he did because she couldn't leave the state. That was a fact, and I forgot who it was. It was Thank you, Ted, though, about that thing. I might check that out with Austin Metcalf. That's hilariously wrong. Don't want to own up to the fact that your son could have possibly just been a bully. And I want to know when didn't WLM not? It's always been every day. Who's in the White House today? They do. It's almost like some kind of freaky fetish. Yeah, because it's almost like if you act wrong, you remember what Mel Gibson said, and Charlie Sheen did too. Mhm. Because they look at you like it's an auction in territory. You know, that's the sad reality. That's the sad reality. That's that I told you. People understand the slave mindset ain't just, it's both sides. You can feel the tension in the air. You sense stuff. Keep on hitting this poll question. Please hit these likes up. And if you got anything and you want to come through, feel free to come on in. I see some people out there in the session. Come on. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I heard something about that. I found him. And he liked it too. He's an interesting cat. Surprised he didn't do a movie about it. Wilt was wilding, but it was all consensual though. That's the thing. That was the thing. Somebody pulled my coat yesterday. Shaq's got 4 bunnies in his crib. That's the latest. That's the latest. He's pulling the Neo, but he's doing it with the bunnies. That's what I heard. Cats is trying to have the whole place covered. That's what I'm hearing. They taking like female singing groups. That ain't no worth no Netflix. I don't want to see that mess. That was just stupidity. That wasn't even that's the word I heard. I was on a forum last night because I be doubling because any story because you do know Shannon Sharp now is so all over different sites that 4 bunnies, yeah, that someone leaked it about it. It's one of them celebrity ones. And of course, now with the whole Shannon Sharp thing out, it's and then everybody's talking about because everyone knew about Neo. Neo started the four. They go and they doing their four horseman thing. That's what's up. So this is the thing. That's what's up in these streets. It's not nothing new though. I mean the poly thing, but no, he don't. No, he don't. I call Cap. He don't date his wage. Because if he dated his wage, that chick was not his wage. I'm not knocking nobody where they work and what they do, but that chick be lucky. She be lucky to get a part-time job at somebody's drive-through doing slow time. I didn't even say doing fast time. I said doing slow time with a headset on. I don't know if it would even work. No, what happened was he tried to flex with his loot and his position. He tried to flex on Nicole Murphy, Eddie Murphy's ex. He was flexing. Think because I'm Shannon Sharp and I got money and y'all gonna like this. Ah, and caliber of women want you to have conversation. I know he did, but that's not no Netflix story. That's just stupidity. And they sucked. That's what happened was Craig. I think they were on an airplane or in a locker room, and that turkey was flexing that piece and Gilbert and all that mess. And that's what that mess went down. And it ended up being more serious because I guess because in certain places, when you're doing and yeah, it was just some stupid thing. I think it was an airplane or locker room, something stupid. That's not no story though. He just dumb. That's all. That was a dumb move. Just like Plexico when the thing triggered off in his pocket and he had to do a 2-year bid. That's just dumb. You know. You walking around with these loot this situation. If you want to call it that, yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't say nothing to him because that turkey liable to shoot a video and go, "Oh yeah, if it wasn't for that, I would have." I say you weren't gonna do nothing. He was early 30s, you know, and he had a couple big years, but he was never a threat to nobody that mattered. He's got this delusion where he walks around like he had some kind of career that it was so succeeded that people didn't remember, and You know, no one was spark behind Gilbert. He had what I call a high second tier career, which was good, but he wasn't great. It's high second tier. In English, he was not seeing Ray Allen. He wasn't seeing Dwayne Wade. He wasn't seeing Kobe. He wasn't seeing Allen Iverson. Okay. But in the second tier slot, he was pretty high up in that slot. And that's why I always say there's tiers. Heck and no, not even close. Wizards, or if you're including Wizards and Bullets, you know, I don't know, and don't take this the wrong way. I don't know to laugh at you or cry with you because asking me who's the Wizard player is comical because they've sucked most of the time. They've been like abysmal. No, he's not. I'll have to think of something to come to mind. He had a good run. He had a really good run, but the team didn't do nothing. So I don't even. I look at that kind of like. hmm, because they're just a rest haven to go where you suck, and they've stunk for like years. I mean, I can't even remember the last time. Well, see, that's a sad commentary. Now, if we conclude him as the Bullets and the Wizards, he's not top 10. If we do Bullets Wizards all time, he's not top 10. John Wall was fast. That's one of the things I remember about John Wall. And he did remind me of Gilbert. He got hurt and he burned himself out. That dude could run. He had a motor on him, but that was a while ago. I remember him very well. And it seems like he should still be playing. He tried with the Rockets or something, but and I remember when he had the Best Buy commercial. when Gaga had "Do What You Want to Do," the one she had to do with R. Kelly, he was in that Best Buy commercial back in 2013. So he was commercialized. It's just that his career didn't last. Then they get stuck with Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal may make an argument is the greatest wizard too. Think about it, because he did have some numbers there. He stat padded enough. So when you say who's the greatest wizard, I'm like looking at them three guys. I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, oh boy. The only thing most people associate with the Wizards and not the Bullets, but we're gonna talk about the Wizards, is Michael Jordan trying to be on and playing there. And no one remembers nothing because they've been a pretty much they had a couple of okay postseasons where they had a little bit, but they stunk. And they stink. They've been a garbage team the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, they suck. Jordan Poole went there. Yeah, now it's like, ugh, brutal. He got booed too. That should tell you everything you need to know. And then Kyle Kuzma couldn't wait to get out. And then they got Middleton. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. Wizards basketball is deplorable. You can look that up though if you want to. I'm not gonna waste my energy though, because I don't talk about them subpub teams, sub average, sub. So okay. All right. Please continue to hit the like and hit these poll questions. Let's see what we got. 71% saying no. Okay. So I guess people don't think that Shannon Sharp is that is in that kind of situation. We will see. It may not necessarily be where they try to go at him like they did those two, but they definitely try to clean out his pockets though. So well, here's a woman that's falsely accusing him for getting a little bit more extra physical with her. And she wanted a $10 million settlement. And she originally he offered 10, she wants 50 million. So it's a pretty serious situation. Alleged assault situation. And it's phone calls and it's all over the news. It's everywhere. If you type it in, you can see it's everywhere. He balled out, but it ain't enough. He can't do it. Well, all you need is an MVP and potential. And in his defense, he did lead them to the Eastern Conference Finals. He did get to a finals with LeBron. See, they'll use these little bits and pieces to defend it. Yep. And he was nice with it. I mean, he had a nice handle, but the two things that worked against it, his brother's mouth and Tibbs, that injury, those two things. Well, MVP can take you in. Billups got in because the Pistons' success, and plus the Finals MVP. But the Pistons were in two back-to-back Finals, and they were Eastern Conference. They were in Eastern Conference Finals 6 straight years. That helps them out. Rondo, they gonna make him wait. He's a better athletic version of D Rose, but he doesn't have the mindset, which is true. Yeah, because Ja is playing video games. Ja ain't trying to hear that. And D Rose is trying to tell his kids, say, yo, it don't last as long as you think. You don't stay 25 for 30 years. So when you get aches and you get older and you put these antics, you start pushing 30, they gonna unload you and they can win with or without you. You're as good as talented you are, you don't make or break them, which is showing before our eyes because they can't even crack 100 and they're getting waxed. And SGA is Ja right now. He don't have the spring as him like that, but he didn't took over that type of guard play. He's doing it. And y'all look old. Y'all look like an old man right now. And that's why I expect he will get traded. I expect there will be a move that, you know, they have no choice because they can't win with him. And they're not scoring no points. And they're stagnant, you know. They are a sorry sight to see. That's an auction team. And I don't know what happened to them, but But anyway, Charlene, it's all over the news about it's videos everywhere and it's audio too with Shannon Sharp. Ted will tell you. Everybody who's been watching will tell you that it's everywhere. You kind of can't avoid it. Somebody's site's got the audio of what he says. Well, the problem is Orlando only has two, him and Wagner. They don't they don't push Anthony. Their tempo is slow. They look like they a step off. And Paulo, yeah, he can play. He got spring in him, but it's a situation where he could be headed towards um Shaq and Dwight. You know how that ends. Cat going one out. He need to learn from his buddy Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin should have been a wake up call to him. Tiger Woods should be a wake up call to you. You know, there ain't gonna be no NBA WNBA merge. If they did that, that's when a Caitlin Clark sees. So they're not gonna do that. Sterling stays low, and Sterling was loud. Used to rattle that jewelry. You see, they took him like 30 years to put him in the Hall of Fame, and a lot of that was because of how he carried himself. It wasn't because of his play, because Sterling was bad. He don't get hurt. He's right there with almost any receiver you want to mention. If he don't when he got hurt, because he was bad, but he was more, visual. Shannon was country, so just saying. But that's what we got. So he won't learn from nobody. He hard headed right now, but he's had examples in front of him. I was trying to tell somebody about Michael Irvin, what Michael Irvin went through. Shoot, Michael Irvin didn't even do nothing, and they still kept him off the air for less. You know, so cats be thinking they can do the same as others, and it ain't like that. I tell you, you find out, learn out the hard way. They setting you up. So anyway, all right now, please hit the likes up and let's get some conversation going. Let's see where we are. See where we are. Yeah, it makes for interesting chats, though. Mhm. I'm waiting for Butler news to come up. If it's not too serious, you'll definitely miss a game. But if it's serious, like I think it probably will require, if they get lucky to get another round, it would probably take a little while. It all depends. I don't think they were going to win it if he was healthy. I think at most they may have gotten a round, maybe two, but that's it. I didn't see no championship because I'm still standing by what I say. They need another score. They need to decide what's going to happen with Kamingas. The bench is suspect, and they're predicated on a style that they're not going to sneak past a lot of teams, especially if they're playing straight up, straight up. They're not what I consider a championship team. So too much would have to happen. And you might get lucky and get through a couple of teams, but then depends on who you playing. So it all depends on who you playing. So, but yeah, injuries change everything for anybody. Depends on who we talking about. But I don't think they were a championship team. That's the only thing I'm saying. Dangerous team, but championship team, that's a whole nother story. Okay. Feel free to give some comments. I'm just waiting. If you're a Warriors fan, but I can't believe that you'd actually think that you were going to win anything. I can't believe it. Okay. Just waiting on conversation, waiting to see if anybody got anything to say. See what I got. Okay. I'm going to wait and see if people come through. We're going to see if we get any conversation because things been gotten kind of quiet. So feel free to chime in. Let me know that you're still there. I don't think we're experiencing any auto problem. Let's see what we got. Gonna get me a drop. Get my throat fresh. See what we're working with. Giving up on your future is like giving up on your dreams. It's sad because that's a mental breakdown. Um, they feel that no one believes in them, and it happens to a lot of people. You know, when people tell you you're just a dreamer, well, we all are. So I think it's sad. I think we need reassurance that we do matter, and that it's important. I think it's very important to believe in something. Never give up on your dreams. People dream of all ages and rages. in places. So it's very important. Very important. Oh yeah, because everybody goes through it. Um, People are never satisfied with what they've got. And sometimes they're always looking at someone else's. And you'll be surprised at some of the most talented people who fall into that line. People who want what others got because they're not happy with what they got. It's one of them situations where you be surprised. What's the point that's expressed to? I can't emphasize that enough. Hmm. So yeah, you gotta you make sure it's reassuring. Because if you tell people to give up on their dreams, you know, you'll be surprised. People need that encouragement. Hmm. Yeah, I agree. Gosh, what we got? Okay. Okay. All right. Feel free to come through, comment. Let me know what you're talking about. Because I will be. See, we got some comments. Okay. We're getting some comments. We're going to see if anybody is around. Feel free to hit the poll. And if you got anything to say, feel free to come on in. I don't want to, make sure people are still communicating because it's gotten real quiet. If I don't get any responses in the next 8 minutes, I'll call it a day because I want to see if people, I want to keep the communication going. Even if we disagree on something, feel free to get the comments going. As I said, I'll probably be back Saturday or Sunday, you know. Uh, but I wanted to get this one in today. No tomorrow, so maybe Saturday or Sunday. So, hmm, okay, right. Seems like we're getting kind of low key. We're gonna sit here for a few more minutes, see if we get anything else. What you got? Dwayne Wade, because just like Marino, no one saw the projection what he was going to be. He won, and he won big, and he came up big. And they used to call it Wade County. Of course, if Marino had won a Super Bowl, we wouldn't have this discussion. What's happening? How you doing? Thank you for coming through. But it's Dwayne Wade. But if I'm honest with you, Marino got treated better because Wade doesn't have any stake in the Heat. That's the sad part. She married him for money, so I don't even understand her whole logic. It sounds cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. None of it makes no sense. She married him because he could pay her. That both her marriages was based on getting paid because she had no money. She filed bankruptcy about 3 or 4 different times. So that's a touchy subject when you mention her because everybody and their mama knows she should have married Babyface. They look alike, they sound alike, they got a vibe alike, and yet this kind of nonchalant like. All right. The whole thing with Birdman seems like some twisted. It's twisted. That's not what you asked me. You asked me who was the face of Miami sports. You didn't ask me about his personal life. So I'm not talking about Gabby Union and all that. I don't really, but there's truth to that, but I'm not gonna really venture into that. They got their own way they do stuff. Yeah. But the thing about it is that she married him for the bag. I don't know. Every time I seen Tony Braxton, I can't make heads or tails. She does some stuff that doesn't quite add up. And that's all I can say. From what I followed her career, she's been through a lot of the industry. So, I mean, it's not like he could promise her. I guess he could because he been taking Lil Wayne's money, took all them cat people's money, you know. So I guess, but it's a bit perplexed. I told you I don't trust none of them Hollywood relationships because that stuff is all PR. You asked me originally about him in Miami sports. You didn't ask me what I thought about his personal agenda. That's why I don't like going there. See, you got to stay on the script. You want to talk about that? You say you want to talk about that. You asked me about him and Marino. Then go on there. I got my feelings and thoughts about his certain choices, but that's not what the question was about. So, you know, separated a long time ago. I mean, Wade's been into kind of some stuff, but hey, I'm not going there with that. The question was who was more Miami sports. So, well, let me break that down to you because Antonio Brown made a clown of himself and his antics backfired. That was a surefire Hall of Fame career. He didn't work for the comp network. So his Dennis Rodman type of antics before he cashed it out and he was loud. He pulled a Kanye and a 50 Center, and them folks ain't gonna give you the. Mm. And also, all three of those stories, those four stories are different. Deshaun Watson, the whole thing with that whole thing, nothing was criminal, but he put himself in very vulnerable, and he still got a fat contract. He sucks right now. I like him, but 2019 ain't coming back. You know how things were perceived to be so-called normal back 2019? Well, that's last time I saw him. He stinks in Cleveland. He stole their money. He's not the same as Shannon Sharp. He can get married, but he got another chance. And Tony Brown got another chance too. He got him a ring in Tampa. He got to stay with Brady and all that. He got loud, arrogant, and just went off the date rail. Had opportunities. Should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. We'll never know. Udoka situation now, that's the worst. Because he did what they all do, except he was a brother, and they made him pay the price. He got the team to the finals, and that was their first finals appearance at that time in 2022 since 2010. And got him a job as a buyout. That's what that happened. They said he good enough to be a coach. So he did get an opportunity, but it was done. He got done worse than them. His was worse than those. His was worse than AB's and Deshaun's. It was worse than Shannon's because Shannon got to go from Fox to ESPN, from CBS. He's had options. Udoka got sent to the Rockets like Saudi Arabia. We'll give you a coaching job. That's hush money and a trade off. But you had to go coach a team that had won 20 some games before he got there. And then he got him to 500 last year, and they're the second seed in the West. So the man can coach. And I like Joe Mazzulla a lot. We all know that Udoka deserves a ring for the Celtics' success with Tatum and Brown. We all realize that. So they're all different cases. But the thing is black men getting caught up in situations. AB, Deshaun, Sharp, and Udoka's all self-inflicted, but it's done. It's a different way. AB's, Deshaun, and Shannon's are embarrassing. Shay Shay is too old to be play like that. Deshaun put himself in a situation where they were setting it up. There's a lot going on with that, but some of it was overblown. They just want him out of Houston because I think that when he lost um, D Hop, that affected him as a quarterback. And then AB, it's like the kid who had too much and he cried. And like I said before, that's the problem with AB. So they're similar, but they're all different. It's funny how that works. They're funny how it works. But they all, you know, definitely got a reminder, got that wake up call, all four of them. That's the one thing they all got in common. It's just that it was done in different ways. I want to say that this worse inflictions, because Shay Shay was too old. AB just kept pushing the antics. And Deshaun Watson almost acted like he was oblivious to where he was at. So that's how I look at that. And Udoka was trying to be Lolo. Mm, so that's what's up. 56% saying no about Shannon Sharp. So that's getting closer. That polling definitely heated up. Imagine it would. Because I don't know if they will or they won't. But I got a feeling if they decide to flip, we shall see. There gonna definitely be some pockets getting split. Well, only thing I can tell you is if you read the story about him and you read on him, and then when you figure out the amount of money, and then of course there's gonna be the Me Too movement, and when people gonna come after him, that's where you know. Because R. Kelly, there was money, and then there was people that said stuff, and then that led to what it led to, and then D, so. Mhm. So once you watch it, do let me know. Mhm. But for people that have, it's gonna split people down the middle. Mhm. Okay. We just chilling. I think I'll chill for another 15 more minutes. Been here from, because I want to see get some more responses. So if I'll see what we got the next 15. If we get a big strong buzz, I'll stay longer than that. If not, I'll just cool it in 15. We'll see. Just waiting on conversation. Hmm. See what we got. Feel free to hit comments, hit that poll question. Let me know you're still around. I'm gonna give it another 5 or 10 minutes so we can get some conversation going. She messing with Stephon Diggs, the football player. She's now in a hurry for her music career, and she wants to act and be a social media She doesn't really want to push the music thing. That's why. She had a chance though. And she had kept up with that project she did with Bruno Mars, but her motivation wasn't there for the long haul. So, besides, she probably don't feel music pays. So, none, none. I don't put classic and her in the same sentence. None. I don't like her music. Oh, it's because because she's because basically um her imagery. That's what's up. She bought and paid for pole dancer who kind of you know that's what's up. I'm not big on Meg the Stallion either, but I'd heard Cardi B yeah by default. I don't like none of them. So Megan gets a pass, but I'm not feeling her either. Okay, so we're gonna be in the home stretch. I got 10 more minutes. Everybody wants to say anything. Okay. Yeah, I'm not big on either one of them. I'm the wrong person. I don't like Nicki Minaj. I don't like Meg Thee Stallion. I don't like Cardi B. I think Nicki by default, but that's not saying much. Well, yeah, because you got pole dancers acting like they can rap. We're selling this facade like Sexy Red do. I mean, they sell this whole thing, and you know, I mean, it's the same old, same old, same. So there's no solidarity. There's no compassion, no heart in it. So, but there's a, it's nothing new though. Because in the '80s, growing up with video took over, and then you got to the digital era. So that's what's up. That's the problem we run into. A lot of stuff is by default because you are helping to whitewash, downplay, drop a tear, and minimize the standards you had in order to, you're being forced to separate mediocrity because that's what we got. There's this mindset that anybody can do anything, and there's some truth to that. Except when we say that, we're not talking about it. Where you can do anything someone does just to being half-hearted about it, and that's what you're getting. And there's no one there to say, hey, because if you say it's not right, they'll say you get off my lawn, you're past your prime time, or they'll say that you just, set in your ways. That's not it. But they purposely want it to be certain type of people that have these options. I think it was Manu because um, Parker. Remember when they beat New Jersey? They was talking about trading for Jason Kidd. So there was always kind of Manu was a six man who made himself into a starter. Who remember if they had a beaten Detroit in six or less games, he probably would have been MVP of that finals because he stole the first two. And he was tough. He was battle tested. So, you know, Parker was good, but Manu gave him a certain burst. He had that energy and he was frustrating. He could flop with the best of them. He beat you in different ways. He was something. Yeah, that's what they want. They want it to be proven without, that's exactly what they want. And like I said, the mediocrity is what's allowed. You got a lot of people that are okay with you being mediocre. So he sure did. He sure did because he was a tweener. He beat you in different ways. I still remember that game against the Rockets when he blocked James Harden's shot in the other. He defense. You needed a quicker picker upper. You needed hustle plays, hustle points. He gave you all that. He had a lot of energy. He could give you all that. The best compliment I can give anybody, and one of the best things I can say about Ginobili is this: he may not have been the best, he may not have been the strongest or the tallest and all that. No one was going to outwork him. No one was going to outwork him, and that's the best compliment I can give anybody. Because whatever you lacking in talent or skill set, don't let nobody outwork you. If they outwork you and you half-hearted, that's gonna make you look even worse. One this is that I do with a lot of people, no matter if it's in music, movies, sports, is if they are in that mindset if I feel like it. And see, when you're in that mindset, you accept mediocrity. But if I say someone you're not gonna outwork them, that's the best compliment I can give anybody. But if I look at you and you just half hard and you just going through emotions and you suck and you're better than that, that's pitiful. Yeah, you know what was the real deal? Yeah. So I can believe that. I can believe Duncan saying it because he did learn a lot from David. Dave was like that. He was that stick side by side. He was instrumental and very underappreciated for what he could do. He was that dude. I clown David sometimes, but athletic a freak, and he was good. He was good. It's just that he falls by the wayside after the whole thing with Elijah on, and of course with Shaq. When you start talking about the greats of the greats, he doesn't. He ain't gonna step up as a defender. What he could do, his scoring ability, forget about it. He had a little bit of outside shot. He could post you. He could go to you with them elbows with the drive. Dave was nice. I did like Ginobili a lot though. Hmm. Sure did. That was a different era too. Different era. Is do I think he is? He got traits of it, but yet, but yet, you know, he doesn't distance himself from some folks. People have said some things. He said some things. Mm, what he said about saying code word about LeBron's posse could be perceived that way. The Iverson remarks, Sky Pippen said thing, J.R. Ryde. Strong possibility he is. But the thing about it is, it's not to the point where people don't want to work with him, though. Everybody's got their biases. So it's a strong possibility. I believe him well, you know what happened? J.R. Ryder said it too. Because J.R. Ryder said something about, he's going to wash your cars at that spot. Something he said. So J.R. Ryder confirmed it. And then he did say some remarks about the way Allen Iverson was dressed. He made some kind of remarks. So would I be shocked or surprised? I don't think Scotty was told. I don't think that. Well, first of all, I think if you ask me hypothetically, I think the NBA is racist as any other institute. Just because you got black players making all they playing on the plantation, they out there playing. There is no black ownership. There is no black hardly general managers. A handful of black head coaches. No black commissioner. Who's pushing the buttons and controlling the product? So would I be surprised about these coaches? No. No different than when Donald Sterling and Robert Sarver were fired as owners of NBA teams. So think about it. I can be a billionaire bigot. You can be big in all of them, and a lot of them supported Trump through professional sports. So it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. So that's what it comes down to. I don't want to say I agree. I agree with him. Things that Pippen had to make up, and that's not one of them. Besides, Scottie Pippen went to Central Arkansas. Come on now. It wasn't the most progressive places. People see the money and the lifestyle, and they somehow forget that you black, that you're going through the experience. Just because they don't do these players like they did Jackie Robinson doesn't mean that they don't encounter. And head coaches are not exempt from it. Mm. I told you before, you got to solidify with me, got to signify to let me know where you stand. Because a lot of them, hmm a lot of them. Okay. Feel free to give me some comments and some likes, some thoughts. I'm going to talk for a little while longer. I'm not gonna be here tomorrow, and I might come back Saturday, definitely Sunday. One player, Bill Romanowski, because when he spat on JJ Stokes, that was disgusting. John Rocker, all them bigots I never liked because of their ways. Those cats come to mind. Mm. Those are the ones that, you know, give me just cause. I couldn't stand Kurt Schilling. Respected his success, but I couldn't stand him. Nolan Ryan. Some cats just turn me off because I know they good old boys and how they vibe. He was overhyped because Atlanta was should have been the team of the '90s in baseball. They were one of the best teams. They just got that one World Series title, and he was a relief pitcher, and his antics. He got up there on ESPN, and him and Rush Limbaugh, which was hilarious that they were on there as commentators. That's he always see. It's just like he has to always emphasize his no, 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 no. They're not better than Don Drysdale and Sandy Koufax. Please do your history. Please do your history. And the reason also is that Randy Johnson is the better pitcher of the two. Randy Johnson is Hall of Fame worthy. Kurt Schilling's postseason is Hall of Fame worthy. His regular season, not quite. No, he was. And I remember when he pitched for Detroit Tigers and when they won the World Series. Randy was tough. I used to live in Seattle. I used to live in Seattle. The big unit was the truth. And when he left Seattle and he went to Houston, he had that what's that 16-1 record before he went to Arizona. He actually started with the Montreal Expos, but he wasn't that good. He got with the Mariners, Astros, Diamondbacks. But by the time the Yankees got him, he was washed. But he was bad though. No, Schilling, they came up big in the World Series for Arizona, but Schilling was kind of more like Schilling is more Robert Ory than he is a starter. Oh, Pedro. Come on now. Pedro. It ain't even close. It ain't even close. I saw Pedro the other night with Shaq. That was funny. Cause he looked he looked so smart next to Shaq. Pedro, come on. Not close. Do you realize how dominant Pedro Martinez was? Did you see what he did? And he was more closer to Roger Clemens in dominance than Randy Johnson was. It's not close. It ain't close. That's what I said. But he wasn't a regular season pitcher that I look at like that. And to answer your question earlier, I take Tom Glavine and Craig Maddox over Schilling and Randy because Maddox and Glavine were both 300 winners. There you go. That's the correct answer in the modern day. There you go. Let me throw my baseball cap on and I can break it down because I said Drysdale and Koufax. Well, Martin, Glavine, and Maddox. Randy and Schilling ain't in that argument, but they had they had what they accomplished that year, but they're not in that argument. No, Pedro Martinez was dominant, yo. He was a beast. Jermaine, actually, if we're talking talent, if we're talking talent, it's Michael, Jermaine, Randy, then Janet. If we're talking talent, because Michael had the all around it, but Jermaine could play bass. Jermaine was a writer producer. He was bad. He just didn't have the focus and dedication Michael did. But the guy was bad. If you ever listen to Switch, he was on some of them records, along with a solo career playing on stage as a kid playing the bass, which wasn't easy. Jermaine was bad. Randy, who co-wrote stuff with Michael, production, played keyboards, all that, was bad. Those three could have been something if they worked together. So there you go. Then we don't get to Janet till she's fourth in line because you're looking at it from success. It's not talent and success. It's two different animals, two totally different animals. Marlon could dance, but Marlon was a marginal songwriter. He had a couple okay songs. Oh, do you like Shake Your Body On to the Ground? If you like Shake Your Body On Down to the Ground, that Randy making the music with Michael. Randy played keyboards. Randy was a talented dude. Randy was on the Randy and Michael worked together on Destiny and Triumph and the Victory and some of the stuff from Michael on Off the Wall. Marlon could dance. Marlon might be he probably was the second best dancer. And he had a pretty good leg split that he did too. But he was, as an artist, no, he was marginal. Because baseball is hard to figure out. Baseball's hard to figure out. It's kind of like asking me how come Cleveland never won the '90s. They had a stacked team. His baseball is not like, sometimes you go against teams that got you beaten some of this or some of that. It's not that easy. What you think should be, it's not. Well, Gibson was bad for his time, but if I had to take one pitcher, I'd probably take Satchel Paige. But I understand what your father was saying about Gibson and Clemente. Clemente was poetic the way he hit, the way he approached hitting. And Gibson was powerful on that mound. He was intimidating on that mound. But I have to give Satchel Paige an edge because Satchel Paige was like 70 years old. He could still pitch. And we'll never know the totality of that. But Gibson was bad though. Heard that kick, he was bad. So that was a different era of baseball. Yeah, well, that's something I can say about Atlanta. They went against a Yankee team who had some big time hits. They lost a close, hard fought World Series to Minnesota. Kirby Puckett made that catch. I can still see that catch in my head. He came up clutch with his hit. They lost that hard fought series against Toronto. So they had Rocker blew that one. They had a couple of hard fought situations, and sometimes it'd be that way. You know, it'd be that way. They were great enough to get there, but sometimes it's tough to finish it up. That's why I don't hold it. Frank Thomas is gonna get the love. He was a better pure hitter. Tommy had better stats with them home runs, but Frank Thomas, because he was like the closest thing to a Tony Gwynn in the American League. That's why. Just better pure hitter. But Tommy was bad though. It took him like an hour to get to the bat, and he would not make it today because he took his time. But he could hit though. But the big hurt gonna get that edge though. Okay, that's a good question though. All right, please hit that poll question. If you got anything else you want to say, feel free to come through. Mm. We've been on for almost 2 hours. So, okay. They can try to hurt all they want. They're not beating Boston because they too slow. And it's like watching. Oh, okay, you got a heavyweight champion against a guy that's a contender that can fight. That's a professional. But the problem that they face in this matchup is the Celtics either can knock them out by blowing them out, or the Celtics can play that sleepy time we win it one by round and just beat you by going the distance. Either way, Orlando's in a can't win situation because they don't match up. It's not a good look for them. They don't have the offensive tools to stop Boston. And, you know, Boston goes on runs on them, and that's it. He hasn't had to look good in the playoffs because they got a team. How's his team look? He doesn't have to. He's going to take over in Memphis. This ain't the time for him to look good, no way, because they're going to win. So it's just a matter of how you play through the cards. They're gonna win. So the Celtics are a good passing team. They they're not lose. They're gonna be hard to be beat. They're gonna be very hard to be beat. I tell you, Joe Mazzulla don't get his due as a head coach. That team is very crisp and sound and sharp. They're gonna be hard to be beat. And Cleveland and them, that's gonna be a Mack truck to Mack truck series. So okay. 50-50 with the voting. Okay. We got the 50-50. That's why they're not going. That's why they got a good chance to win the chip. Joe Mazzulla done an incredible job. They changed what they did with Udoka. Remember, Robert Williams would defend and they would, block, and then also Marcus Smart. They are a more scarier balanced team from the perimeter with those intangibles of defense, with those intangibles of getting Tatum and Brown off. But Derek White can beat you by himself. Pritchard can beat you. And he was posting up last night. That's why Orlando don't have a chance. He's in the box. That's my two favorite series right there. There's two of the three that I like. Detroit, New York, Houston, Golden State, and Denver and the Clippers. Those are the only first round series that I care about. The others I don't. Detroit can win that series. They should be up 2-0. If Tibbs doesn't fool if Tibbs fools around and gets stuck with a six-man rotation and someone gets hurt, they're gonna get swept. They're gonna lose a gentleman's sweep. They better win in Detroit. Detroit's controlling this series. Cade Cunningham's controlling it. They got to finish up. They got to get Dennis Schroeder, and those guys, Tim Hardaway Jr., all of them have to step up. Tobias did the other night. That's the key. They can beat New York. That's a winnable series. New York's got to hope no one gets hurt and they can work with what they got, and they can make Detroit look young and vulnerable. If Detroit plays a full quarters of basketball, Detroit's gonna beat them. I before Jimmy Butler, no Jimmy Butler, I thought this was intriguing series because Udoka's defense is a problem, and of course they pound in the glass. Eventually, that wears down Golden State. Eventually, you start sagging 2 and 3 on Steph. Golden State, Kamingas, somebody else. If Jimmy Butler comes back or not, they got to figure out a way to score. They have to figure out a way because they're giving up so much now, and them young legs is coming for them. So I think it's gonna be a compelling series. So that's my takes on those two. If Golden State was Golden State, they'd be up 2-0. And if Houston had a legitimate offensive threat with consistency, they'd be up 2-0. That's how I size that series up. That's why it's compelling. And Udoka against Curry is going to be real compelling, whose intensity and what they can do. And Detroit and the Knicks, it's just a matter of whose style can take. Detroit can stick around. They've blown the leads in the games. They've had them left to right. Because if Cat doesn't show up, the Knicks are cooked. Josh Hart don't show up, they're cooked. But if Cat don't come up, you gotta have the 1-2 punch. Jalen Brunson can't do it by himself, so it's gonna be problematic. Oh, if they get somebody like Zion Williams and say like Al Horford goes to the bench or retires and they get Zion Williamson, forget about it. Then you're looking at a dynasty then. You're looking at about 4 or 5 years there. Forget about it. Because if he gets in shape and he can take a role with Porzingis, oh man, forget about it. Forget about it. They're gonna own the East. They're gonna own it. They still might right now, even as good as Cleveland playing. Because they're the only two teams in the East that count, but they're good enough to win the chip. But Boston's the team I know could win the chip. Yeah, Cat's soft. I like him all right, but he ain't that dude. Them spotlights is too deep for him. And he can't be having no game where he coming with 10 measly points. So if he got to knock down some shots, but if they don't, that's what you heard it here first. If they don't, that's what's up. That's a tough series, though. Detroit's not a good look for them. That's not that. Cade Cunningham is coming. So if they get help like they did the other night, they can beat them. Because they blew that first game. It should be 2-0 Detroit right now. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about the Celtics and Zion, but if that was to come to pass, the way Joe Mazzola got them guys rolling, forget about it. Well, because Tatum is considered a better player. Tatum is considered like the next line of Celtics. So they're like, we want to embrace you with Bill Russell, Larry Bird, Paul Pierce. And it's a different hit. But Tatum's problem is that he doesn't have any pizzazz to his game. He's talented, he's got numbers, but he's missing that it. That's what hurts him. There's no style. We know Cat's soft. Cat is a problem for Jokic, which no one talks about. But and there was this hope to bring him there to New York to match against Porzingis in Boston. That's why they got him to basically be a role player and shoot a lot of threes. But if he ain't getting no touches in money time, then the Knicks are wasting him. And he ain't much else to him but as a 3-point specialist. He ain't exactly gonna post you up. Yeah, Detroit remind me of Jason Tatum. He doesn't remind me of Tatum because he doesn't have Tatum's Tatum beat you in different ways. Cade's got to figure out how to get his teammates involved. Uh, Detroit's a young team. There's immaturity there. There's fight, but there's immaturity, and they still got a ways to grow and to go because they would have won that first game, and they nearly blew the second game. And because of you got to balance everything, ebbs and flows. He could probably be better because of what he's got to do, but will he get to that point? And then will he get that teammate that compliments him? See, so that's the thing. No, the problem with Porzingis is that he's right where he's supposed to be. He's a strong third option. His problem was when he's with the Knicks, he was a first. He wasn't ready for that. He was a second with Luca, and he butted heads with Luca. So when he got traded to Boston, that worked out fine because he could play behind Tatum and Brown, and then he was scary as a third option. The worst mistake was making him a number one. He wasn't cut to be a number one. Phil Jackson made a good choice in drafting him, but he wasn't a first option. He went to Dallas. He didn't like Luca being a second. So that's what happened to him. So that was one of the problems with him right there. So, you know, so who you talking about? You talking about Cade or you talking about Zingas? Who you talking about? The ball in crunch time? Which one are you talking about? Porzingis is a steal for Boston, though. I mean, that's why if he's healthy, they're not going to lose. If he's healthy, they're going to win. Might mean 7 games, 6 or 7 against Cleveland, but if he's healthy and they got everybody intact, he's the difference maker. Quiet is kept. That's what they try to tell Laker fans that Austin Reeves is the best third option. No, it's Porzingis, and it's not even close. Porzingis is that dude because Boston is unstoppable if he's playing. So and when you get in a good fit, you're a good fit. Mhm. Okay. I think that's about it because nobody's coming back right now. Think I'm gonna call it a day right about here. We didn't hit 2 hours. Yeah, Cade's nice. Right now, this year, he's kind of like this year version of Tyrese Halliburton. So I'll see what he does in the future. But if he makes a move against New York, and I like the upside of him, he just has to be consistent. They just have to have better ball handling and coaching and crunch time. And they got to get another cat that can score. That's how you're going to know how good he is. He's got the goods on his own, but they got to have others involved. That's the only way they're going to make any inroads. So, but I like what I'm seeing with him. But right now, he's still green. You're gonna be if he for real in a couple of years, watch out. But right now, they're playing for the third best in the East, which basically means you're about 2 or 3 years away from even approaching what's second or first. So that's the reality. But if he can pull some kind of crazy upset, then it's be like, hey. You know, I just don't see it though, because Boston and Cleveland are clearly ahead. But he is nice though. He definitely gonna be problematic. You know, so anyway, we got a 50-50 split on this poll questions. Appreciate everyone that participated. Thank you for coming through. And like I said, I will be back in a couple of days. I wanted to do a nice. I got to end up doing 2 hours today. So that should hold everybody in the rebroadcast. Eventually, I'll get it on the podcast and everything like that if you don't see it live. Appreciate everyone that came through. And again, I'll be doing, you know, videos. I got videos out, so check them out, comment, hit the likes and subscribe, tell people. And if you got any requests and you join up as membership, yeah, appreciate you coming through. Um, feel free to chime in. If you see me on Facebook, send me a message in the bubble. That way, you know. And if I'm anywhere else, feel free to chime in because I'm always taking suggestions and ideas and everything. Think we had a pretty good time today. Hope everybody has a great day. Hope the weather is good. Yeah, he do. They won't go for Kyrie and they won't go for the Morrises. Yeah. But he do need somebody that can score to take the load off of him. Because if he had a score, you know, I think that would do wonders for Detroit. I that's just saying that's what they're missing. Get a guy who can score with him, they could be something. So we'll see what they end up doing. Appreciate everybody that came through. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. And we'll catch you next time. Peace the best. I'll catch you. I'm on one time. Peace.